Welcome to Increasingly Possible Predictor of Modern Future Events Simulator 2K16. I'm Generation Internet, and I am just loving that this game is still going. Lots of interesting things happening. So you got this guy still creeping up towards this little patch of woods here. I got nothing. Who sees it? The machine gun, but the machine gun can't do shit. It's a BTR. You get a contact in these woods, and it's really great. You just lay a whole bunch of fire into a Russian team who gets caught out by one of the 3rd Platoon, 2nd Company guys. You get an armored contact moving up here. You'll eventually get a spot. There you go. So this BTR is actually the thing that sees it. It obviously can't do anything, so it just starts backing away. In the woods, your Americans run into a bunch of dudes. You have a whole bunch of movement up here, too. You inflict some casualties. You'll notice no flashing yellow this entire minute, so that's good. You definitely cause casualties, but you don't take any. That's always the kind of turn you want to have. And yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. Go in and take a look at things. So there's a few things to talk about over here. So I'll just go in the order in which they appear because I forget. Okay, so over here, let's take a look at the Americans in the woods. So turn the trees off there. So these are the guys who got engaged by your scout team, who are now here. You pick up a spot on them again. So you take a little bit of fire, but your return fire is way more accurate. So just go back in time. So they shoot at you first, but you shoot at them last. Especially, like, this is a scary amount of crack American troops you have moving up here. So that happens, and I'll skip forward so we're not watching every turn multiple times. You see another guy here, and you're probably going to light him up the next turn. But that's what happens in this patch of the woods. These guys are moving up also, so the entire A Company is starting to consolidate. Another note on A Company is that I was looking at why the 2nd Platoon didn't have its HQ or anything. 2nd Platoon's the one that had its HQ BTR break down, so its shit is all over the place. So I'm also moving its Platoon HQ. It's going to snag a BRDM, formerly of the Recon Company, and it's going to move up along with machine guns, and hopefully get everything in one place at some point. So right here I'll give you a really great shot of a full squad of 6 opening up on this Russian guy here. Ugh. This poor fucker. Man, even shooting RPG at him? Like, fuck, man. So this entire squad just goes to town on this one guy. And it's really, really great to see. Just, ugh. So you get him, there's a brief pause, and you see a buddy, and you shoot at this guy. It's a machine gun team, you can see that from the unit cards. So, yeah, you pick a guy off here who's moving up behind these contacts you already made. Also, in this part of the map, I'm just going to go through the tank movement. So you get this tank contact, who the BTR can see. BTR backs away because fuck that, that's a tank. But you also have this ATGM team here. Now, we go back to when you can actually see the tank. I'm not sure if it'll be reverse sloped to you or not. So from this position, you have your ATGM team. Where's the tank? So this team might not be able to see the tank because it'll be behind the hill. If it does, like if the tank moves over here, it might be able to. And also, you have this fucking firing line of tanks, so if any of these guys see that tank, it's done. So over in this part of the map by 1st Company of the Ukrainians, there's a lot of movement. I'm just going to skip through it. But you can see all these BTRs look like they're pulling back, and you see one of them starts going down the road. That one there. So, general westwards movement from these guys. Another note, that's what happens here. These guys didn't have any orders. PT Thighs posted in the thread, but like only after I started running the turn. So I kind of started moving them through the words like somebody had suggested to. This wasn't an actual order, but I don't know. I just kind of didn't really want to see them sit around doing nothing. So the Bradley's got a bit ahead of the infantry here, but the infantry is ordered to move ahead of them, so you can see that there's nobody in this part of the woods. This platoon's all operating together, so everybody's doing something productive. and this whole front is generally pretty stable. So on the American orders turn, just something I noticed is that the JTAC team, who was calling in this Apache, who used pretty much everything on that field, that Apache is now gone. There's nothing coming in on this field. So the JTAC team is freed up again, and they can call in either of these things, but the F-15, I'm pretty sure you need to have line of sight. I don't think they have line of sight on anything right now because they're in a Jeep. So that's one more thing to consider. The JTAC team also going up to this little rally point. You see they're passing all these abandoned vehicles that I rescued the crews out of, leaving just this shit back here in the town, which is your Stinger teams and the mortars, as well as these ATGMs kind of looking down the pass. Second minute for the Americans and the Ukrainians. Contact disappears over here. Over here you keep shooting. Not sure if you kill him. I have to double check that. Things kind of moving west here still. This tank contact continuing to move south. You still have eyes on it, kind of, mostly ears. This thing pops out of sight. It moves behind the woods here. You see a contact moving in here. The Apache over here finally makes a rocket run. Note how long it takes this. Yeah, there. The sound actually travels to where the camera is, which is cool.
Engaging from the west.
JTAC team continues to move up. The convoy is at, like, I've moved the convoy for the last time without you guys explicitly telling me to because it's there. This T-90 parks itself right on the road. You see him for a bit, then lose contact. Unfortunately, the ATGM team doesn't see it. But let's go take a look at some of that stuff. So over here, the contact goes prone. You see he lies down here in a second. And once he lies down, you can't see him anymore. He's kind of silhouetting himself against the hill. Probably unpause. So he goes prone. Use contact with these guys. I think we're on hunt orders. These guys are pausing because they're too tired to continue their hunt orders. These guys have just stopped their orders because they ran into contact. These guys are all continuing to move up. You can see they're on these big minute-long pause orders because they got too tired to hunt properly. So that's where they're sitting. These guys continuing to move up. So that's the situation over here until the end of the turn. You got these guys in position, everybody else kind of moving up. Generally, everybody on this little piece of land, this little hill, is hunt orders just because you're in contact. And that's where the Americans are at. Over here, you keep shooting at this guy a whole lot until he just runs away. It doesn't look like you get the kill because the contact doesn't disappear, but you definitely scared him off. So over here, that armored contact moves all the way down. You get eyes on him. You lose eyes, like, right a second. If I unpause, you lose eyes on it, but the Merry Marauders surviving scout from this team can see it. Here's where the tank is. It's a T-90. Fairly standard stuff. Oh, hey. Looks like, I'm going to say the Apache was hitting it with cannon fire. I think because you can see all these tiny, tiny little hit decals. So this one was getting, your helicopters were shooting at these things when they were in the forest. This is where it is. I'm not sure what it can see. If you turn off the trees, you can see it's actually staring down the barrel of 3 Abrams. But the trees are obviously in the way, so I don't know if they're going to spot him or not. And also, the ATGM team is over here somewhere. Zoom in. Yeah, so the ATGM team is here. But I'm not sure, like, it looks like they are just not going to be able to see it because of the elevations. This guy, the third guy on the team, has just been moving around for, like, no reason. I don't know why. But you're looking at that from these guys' perspective. Turn trees on. I don't know. They might be able to shoot it, but they might not be. So you can see at the end of the turn, this is the farthest forward I'm going to move any of the convoy without people telling me to. You can see you're here. The Russian tank is here. And the exit is here. So yeah, so this is pretty much as far as I can safely move them forward. Once the entire convoy is caught up, you'll be just ready to roll them off the map. But that's the thing. I don't have to deal with these guys ever fucking again until you manage to clear out this area. So let's take a look at this part of the map. You see BTRs continue to move this way. Generally, you don't have a lot of strong contact. So it looks like everything's kind of pulling out. Now let's see that Apache run. I think it hits like this part of the road. I know which direction it comes from, but you can see there's a BTR moving down the road here. And right after that, let's go take a nice little camera shot. So after that BTR kind of moves out of your sight. The Apache makes a rocket run on this road. So possibly you nailed something, probably not, but you can probably guess that's what you're shooting at. So also, I stopped the Bradleys here from getting ahead of their infantry. The infantry is now getting ahead of them. I figure you got a pretty decent flank guard with all these guys here. You have an infantry contact right there from these guys. So if they spot them, they'll probably shoot. That's the situation there. You lost this contact here this turn. So the last you saw it was moving this way. It went behind the trees. You can't see him anymore. So that's a fun thing. But I think that pretty much covers it for this turn. Not much else to talk about. It's going to get very exciting in the next 2 turns. Because all the stuff down here. Another thing I didn't mention, I don't think, was I had the BTR that was here that had some weapons crews in it. Yeah, this guy. So I brought over the, what's it? It's the AT-7 team and the machine gun team that were in here are now in the forest, ready to be moved up. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it, and I'll see everybody for the next turn.